Chapter 2091. Cameron took a deep breath and gnashed her teeth. He got off easy. Cameron returned to her room, took a shower, and changed into fresh clothes. The pants with blood on them were thrown onto the pile of dirty clothes. Mahina entered soon. "Your period started?" She never let the helpers clean her clothes or enter her room. Every helper in the house knew that her room was prohibited, so her room would always be cleaned by either the butler or Mahina, including her clothes. Mahina sneaked in even her period pads. Cameron sat on the bed with a hot water bag on her lower abdomen. "Help me throw the clothes into the washer, and don't let anyone see them." Mahina nodded, then left with the laundry basket. Cameron lay in bed, feeling unhappy because she was caught in his tactics. She had been too careless. Meanwhile, Mahina brought the basket to the laundry room, opened the door of the washer, and then noticed someone was there when she was throwing the clothes in. "Who's there?" Waylon leaned against the wall, with his arms crossed. "You're very alert." Mahina subtly covered the pants that had blood in them with other clothes. "Mr. Goldman, what brings you to the laundry room?" He placed his jacket into the laundry basket. "To do my laundry." Mahina still had her guard up. "I can help you with that." He looked at the clothes she was holding. "Are those Cameron's?" She nodded. "Yes." He smiled. "Don't the helpers usually wash his clothes? Why are you doing that instead?" A shiver ran down Mahina's spine after she heard that. She knew that Waylon wasn't a simple person, but she didn't know why he would be suspicious about this. Mahina replied, "He doesn't like other people touching his clothes." "He has his guard up even with the helpers?" "I'm not sure about that." Mahina was very calm throughout the conversation. Waylon squinted because he couldn't find any changes in her expression. She must be a strong person, which should be why Cameron trusted her. He turned around and then stopped to look at her. "By the way, I've looked into Miss Torres." Mahina's grip on the basket tightened. Waylon saw that but pretended that he didn't. "I couldn't find any information on her." "Is Torres not a real name?" Right when Mahina was starting to panic, Daisy showed up. "Waylon." Mahina saw her as a savior for showing up when she did. Waylon frowned and turned to look at his sister, who interrupted him. He rubbed his nose and said, "Why are you here?" Daisy smiled. "To see you." "Mahina is here too?" He looked at her. "Obviously. Let's not stop her from doing her chores." "Her pay might get docked for that," Daisy said while dragging him outside. Mahina finally let out a sigh of relief. The person that she had to be most careful around was Waylon. They walked into the courtyard, but Daisy was still thinking about how she could get out of this. Waylon stopped walking, which made her bump into his back. Chapter 2092. Daisy turned to look at her, then squinted. "Daisy, did you do that intentionally?" She played dumb. "Did what intentionally?" Waylon smiled. "Are you afraid that I found something?" Daisy shook her head and continued to bluff. "No." "Are you trying to find something?" Waylon stared at her. He knew that his sister was a great actress, but he was able to see through that. "Daisy, am I the brother who loves you the most?" She smiled and walked next to him. "Of course. You're the nicest to me." Waylon looked at her with a wide grin and asked, "You're hiding something from me, right?" Daisy coughed and looked away. She didn't know if he already knew something. He sighed. "I thought you would trust me. How could you be so close to another man?" He seemed to be saying that she was cheating. Daisy pouted. "Don't say that." Waylon squinted. "Then why are you hiding it from me?" Daisy blurted, "It's not that I want to hide it." When she saw Waylon raise his brows, her mouth was agape because she realized something. "You're tricking me into talking." He chuckled. "You're not too dumb." Daisy was going to say something but stopped because she knew that Waylon would suspect something, but she wasn't careful enough and fell for it. She looked down and was angry with herself. Waylon tapped her head and said, "I could guess even if you wouldn't tell me." She pretended to be angry. "Then why did you trick me into talking?" He smiled. "I just want to teach you a lesson so no one else can do that to you." Daisy was rendered speechless. Daisy didn't dare tell Cameron that Waylon might have found out about her identity. She had been in the East Islands for half a month already and was getting very good with the whip. A call came in, and it was the first call from Bassburg ever since she went there. It was James Tell on the line. "Daisy, are you at the East Islands? How did you know?" Daisy was curious because she hadn't told anyone that she had gone to the islands with Waylon. She didn't even update her Twitter feed recently because the fans knew that she was taking a break. James was shocked. "That really was you? Check what's trending. Someone caught you." Daisy was stunned and immediately checked Twitter after her call ended. She was stunned by what she saw. Someone had just posted online the video of Cameron at the mall from a few days ago. Besides Cameron fighting the men in black, the part when she hit Florence with the whip was also captured. More people were interested in Cameron because their fight was like an action flick. A lot of fans asked if Daisy was filming on the East Islands. Such a video wouldn't usually get a lot of traction, but since Daisy was in it, the netizens were able to recognize her, and that footage became a trending tweet. Naturally, Florence saw the video too. She angrily pushed everything off the dining table. "They are the reason I am being mocked and used as the butt of a joke. And Fabio? How could he warn me not to cause trouble?" Chapter 2093. Manuel stood behind her and watched while she threw a tantrum. Even though he felt bad, he thought that she was always too hasty. "Mr. Puzo just wants you to lay low for now, because the timing isn't right yet." "When will it be the right time?" Florence grabbed him by the collar. "You said that if I took over my dad's place, I could do whatever I wanted, but ever since I joined Fabio, he's been looking down on me. Cameron, on the other hand, keeps bullying me. Not only do you piece of trash not help me, but you also keep asking me to tolerate it." Her radical words made Manuel ball up his fists. TSK, you're such a fiery woman." Donald walked into the villa with his men. She frowned. "Who are you?" "This is between us, the serpents. You have no place here." Donald smiled. "If you can't keep calm, you're not going to be able to do great things. The heir of the Southern clan has no time for your games because he doesn't even care about you. You overestimate yourself." Florence was outraged. "How dare you mock me? Manuel, why are you still standing there? Grab him." Manuel didn't move. Donald walked to the couch, took a seat, and then tidied his suit. "I feel sorry for the serpents for having you as a leader. Can a woman who can't even keep herself together lead them well?" She was furious. "What do you mean by that?" He didn't answer her, but looked toward Manuel instead. "This is your chance to save the serpents, Manuel. I'll find a way for you to take over if you're willing to." Florence turned to glare at Manuel. "Would you? Manuel, you're just a dog of the serpents. How dare you bite your master?" Manuel raised his brows. He had been silent for too long and finally showed his true colors. "I'm sorry, I won't be obeying you this time." The video wasn't viral for a long time and was removed on the same afternoon. The video that was initially uploaded was taken down, and the video could no longer be found on any other platform. Knowles covered his laptop and rubbed the bridge of his nose. Even though he had removed all the videos, that didn't mean no one had found out when it first came out. Take stood at the door of the office and knocked. "Mr. Beck, Toajin Serrano is awake." After Jokin woke up at the Southern Hospital, he saw Sonny sitting in the chair next to him with his cane in hand. The accident broke a lot of his bones, so he was covered in plaster and couldn't move. "You're awake." Sonny looked at him. Jokin was stunned because the pain and the familiar face made him feel it was unbelievable that he was still alive. His dried lips moved. Did you save me? Sonny replied, to be exact, Neil Beck saved you. He didn't speak for a very long time. Sonny continued. Jokin, you know very well who's behind this accident. He still didn't speak because he knew who had ambushed him. He never thought it would be one of his own. Sonny grabbed his cane and raised his brows. If I didn't suspect Manuel, I wouldn't have asked Neil to follow him, and if he didn't do that, you would have gone to meet your father by now. Chapter 2094. Jokin laughed at himself. After all this time, it's the ones that are closest to me that betray me. Florence joined Fabio after taking over the serpents. That stunned Jokin. After a long pause, he asked with regret, don't you hate me? Sonny slowly said, your brother and I were like brothers. When he passed away, he asked me to take care of you and the serpents, and I promised him I would. When I learned that you wanted to join Fabio, I was disappointed on behalf of your father. Jokin pressed his lips together and didn't have the courage to look into his eyes. The Southern clan had done all they could to treat the serpents well, but Jokin wasn't content and started second-guessing when Fabio approached him. But the person who almost killed him was his own subordinate, and the person who saved him was his enemy. Sonny slowly stood up. But you didn't choose to betray me immediately, which meant you didn't want the serpents to have to go through that. I don't blame you for making bad decisions. Take care of yourself. But Florence, Jokin didn't finish his sentence. Sonny stopped in his tracks and turned to look at him. If your daughter was smart enough, she wouldn't have made that decision. You've spoiled her. Daisy came back from the martial arts center and saw Cameron feeding her pet lizard minced meat. She scratched her cheek and didn't know why she felt guilty when facing Cameron. She smiled. That lizard is quite cute. Cameron looked at her. Do you want to touch it? Daisy's smile froze. No, there's no need for that. Cameron kept the minced meat in a box. What's wrong? You want to say something? She looked uneasy while she looked around. I'm trending with you. Am I causing problems? That's your concern? Cameron smiled. I thought it had been taken down. Also, what problem could you cause? Daisy wanted to tell her that Waylon had tricked her into talking, but if she did tell her, she might hit her. What if she cut her tongue out? Cameron squinted when she saw how guilty Daisy looked. Did you do something? Daisy paused, then shook her head. No, Cameron leaned in closer. Really? Daisy started sweating because she didn't know how to answer. Daisy. Waylon showed up at that moment. Daisy was just like Mahina from the other day. I'm going to take a shower. Cameron figured that something was wrong when she saw Daisy scurrying away. She looked at Waylon, walked over, and crossed her arms. Are you threatening your sister? Why did she run away when she saw you? Waylon stopped in front of her. She's my sister. Why would I threaten her? Let's cut to the chase. Cameron squinted. People who know my identity will never get to leave the island. Waylon smiled. So, is Miss Torres going to take me out or Mr. Southern? Cameron was rendered speechless. Waylon was smart enough to find out about her identity, but didn't expose her. If she brought things up, it would look like she was quietly admitting to the speculation. Fine, I won't put you in a tough spot. Cameron brushed her shirt. After all, I can't just take your check for nothing, right? Waylon raised his brows. Does that mean you don't plan to pay me back? Chapter 2095. Cameron flashed a broad smile. A check for a secret. Isn't that a good deal? Waylon squinted. You're scamming me. Cameron put her hand on his shoulder and leaned in. Mr. Goldman, let me clarify that. It's not a scam. It's taking advantage. Waylon looked at her quietly. If he had to describe her as an animal, she would be a fox. She was cunning and smart. She had a strong spirit, demeanor, and strategies and planning that a man should have. It was understandable that she was able to hide her identity for more than a decade and managed to make people respect and fear her. What are you up to? Sunny entered the yard and saw Cameron's arm on Waylon's shoulder. They were standing very close to each other. To him, it looked like his son was flirting with Waylon. Cameron moved her arm away and shrugged. Nothing. We're just talking. Sunny scoffed. I think it's more like you're touching him inappropriately. Where is your decency? Cameron was rendered speechless. Waylon smiled at Sunny. Mr. Southern Sr., we were really just talking. Don't need to cover for him. This kid needs to be taught a lesson. He chased Cameron into the house after saying that. Cameron walked inside slowly because she was having fun. Waylon knew why Sunny sent her away. He looked down. Are you worried about something? Sunny walked to him with his cane in hand, then stopped and looked at the flowers in the garden. There's no need to play dumb. Tell me, have you found out about Cam's actual identity? Waylon looked at him and didn't try to hide anything. Only recently, when Noles wanted to stay here, I didn't agree because I was worried that Cam's secret would be exposed, but it's too bad that the kid saw through it. Sunny continued. I had a feeling that I wouldn't be able to hide it from you when you arrived. They were all extremely sharp. Waylon chuckled. Are you regretting it? He sighed. I'd been ready because it would come out sooner or later. Waylon looked at the lizard in the cage. She would be accepted by the organization, regardless of gender, right? Even if Cameron stopped pretending to be a man and took over Sunny's place, the clan members would still respect her because she was capable. Sunny looked at him with a smile. I heard that you sparred with her a few days ago. It was a draw? He smiled. I was lucky. She was very good. I almost lost. Sunny looked at him closely and was happy with what he was seeing. The next day, Daisy and Cameron went downstairs for breakfast together. Sunny and Waylon were almost done by then. They both sat down, and Cameron got her some pancakes. When the helpers saw how caring she was, they remembered the rumor and thought that they really were dating Mahina and rushed in from outside. Sir. Sunny put down his cutlery. What's going on? She looked serious. Something happened at the Chamber of Commerce. Someone found a body there, and it was a serpent. Manuel is causing a scene there. Sunny slammed the table with rage. He's really taking advantage of things. Chapter 2096. Cameron wiped the corner of her lips with a handkerchief. All right, Dad. I'll go get the things done. She rose to her feet, and Sunny called her. Let Wayne go with you. Cameron was stunned. Several black cars slowly came to a stop in front of the entrance to the Southern Chamber of Commerce. Cameron dusted her suit and gazed at Waylon. She still couldn't fathom why her father wanted her to bring along Waylon. It was a mess in the Southern Chamber of Commerce as everyone was fighting someone inside. Manuel was sitting on the couch while sipping on a glass of wine. This was the first time he tasted the sweetness and benefits of power. He was obsessed with it as it slowly ate away his conscience. Stop now, all of you. Cameron and her men stepped into the building. Everyone came to a stop as they all turned their heads to look at Cameron. She glanced at Manuel and smirked coldly. Well, people always say that fine feathers make fine birds. I didn't understand the phrase in the past, but I think I understand it now after seeing you. Is Florence finally willing to give you a pay raise? Manuel was stunned, and his gaze turned grim. Are you here for a fight or to settle the problem? My subordinate was killed in the Southern Chamber of Commerce. Don't you think you owe us an explanation? That's right. We demand an explanation. His subordinates all shouted angrily. Waylon turned to look at Cameron. She pulled a chair and sat down with her legs crossed. Raising her eyebrows, she said, just because he died here, you think it's my people who killed him? Who would have killed him if you didn't kill him? We want justice for our brother. That man continued agitatedly. Cameron glanced at him coldly and said, You want justice? Very well then, where's the body? Show it to me. I want to see it. Someone brought out the dead body. Cameron signaled someone behind her, and that person nodded. He walked over to the dead body, but someone stopped him before he could get near it. What do you think you're doing? Cameron leaned forward slightly and rested her chin on her palm. Of course, we want to examine the body. Examine the body? Who do you think you are? A forensic expert? You just want to destroy the dead body. Cameron chuckled. Do you have any evidence? Besides, are you sure that he isn't a forensic expert? The man was stumped and looked toward Manuel anxiously. Manuel rose to his feet, and his face sank. You're full of craft and cunning, so I don't trust you. What do you think I can do when there are so many of you watching me? Or are you guys too ignorant and stupid? Anyway, are you going to let us examine the body or not? Apparently, Cameron's patience had run thin. Manuel gnashed his teeth and let them examine the body. He did not believe that Cameron would be able to notice anything. The man put on gloves and checked through the body meticulously. The rest of the people surrounded him and looked at him with watchful gazes. Waylon glanced at Cameron. She was leaning against the back of the chair slovenly. Her calm expression told him that she had everything under control. He retracted his gaze and looked at the man who was examining the body. He seemed like a professional to him. After he finished examining the body, he stood up and took off his gloves. There are several stab wounds on the chest, so I believe he must have fought with someone before he died. There are purple strangulation marks on the neck, his face is bluish and swollen, and his fingers and lips are purple. According to my preliminary judgment, he died of mechanical asphyxia. Manuel let out a cold smirk. This means that my subordinate fought and was strangled to death by your people. Cameron played with her finger and asked indifferently, when is the time of death? The man replied, according to my experience, he should have been dead for about 5 hours. Chapter 2097. That means he died in the wee hours of the morning. Cameron lifted her eyelids and scanned at the staff members of the Southern Chamber of Commerce. Then, she asked, who was on duty last night? A few staff members turned to look at a skinny young man standing at the back. Sensing their gazes, the skinny young man said, it's me, sir. But I really didn't see or hear any fight. The people from the Serpents shouted, of course, you would say that. You guys must be helping your own people. Cameron rose to her feet and replied, helping our own people? Then why did you guys come to my place early in the morning? Do you not know that's trespassing? So it's reasonable for my people to beat you guys up when they found you. Moreover, my subordinate said that he didn't see any signs of a fight, so why would the corpse appear here out of nowhere? Could it be that he walked all the way to my place after he died? Cameron, the body was found here. This is the evidence, and there's no way you can deny it, Manuel said, his voice filled with rage. Cameron turned her head around and ordered, go get the security camera footage. The man behind her nodded and went to the surveillance room. Manuel let out a cold smirk as if he was confident they couldn't get anything from the footage. Soon, the man returned and whispered into Cameron's ear. Sir, a part of the footage from last night is gone. Cameron fell silent. So what now? Where's your footage? Is it gone? It seems like someone from your side is light-fingered. They're afraid of getting exposed for what they've done, so they destroyed the footage in advance. The fact that a part of the footage was gone meant the security camera must have captured something on it. Only the people from the Southern Chamber of Commerce had access to the surveillance room. What a nice move. Without the footage, they couldn't explain why the body would appear at their place anymore. Besides, judging from the fact that the Serpents were so confident that the man was killed there, it meant that they came prepared and were certain that Cameron wouldn't be able to prove the Southern Chamber of Commerce's innocence no matter what. Waylon suddenly turned to look at the skinny man and asked, you're very sure that you didn't hear any noise last night, right? The skinny man nodded. Waylon squinted and continued. Were you the only one on duty last night? The skinny man trembled with fear. There will be people on duty every night. Other than me, there are another 3 security guards. Cameron asked someone to bring the security guards inside. After they were informed of what happened last night, they all said they did not realize anything. Manuel harumphed and said, "Mr. Southern, it seems like all of your men aren't going to admit it. It's a fact that one of my brothers was killed here, so how about this? If you're willing to hand the commune and the sexta to us, we'll forget everything that happened today." Cameron's gaze turned sharp. "I don't know from where you got the courage to say such a thing to me." The commune and the sexta were areas governed by the Southern clan. The commune managed the dock and the ferry area, while the sexta was the center of the Southern Chamber of Commerce. Regardless of which area it was, they were inseparable territories of the Southern clan. It seemed to Cameron that it must be Fabio who asked them to request something like that, and it was only now that she realized why it was Manuel who came today instead of Florence. Florence was too incompetent, and Fabio should have been worried that she might spoil his plans. Therefore, he appointed Manuel to take care of the serpents. Manuel dusted his suit and continued, "If you refuse to accept the suggestion, then there's nothing I can do about it. It's just that I wonder what other people will think when they learn that the Southern clan has killed someone today." His voice was filled with threat. Cameron let out a grim smile and said emotionlessly, "Mahina." Mahina came forward. "Your order, sir? Lock up all the people on duty last night, and by whatever means, find a way to pry them open within the day." Chapter 2098. The 3 security guards and the skinny man were taken away. While they were taken away, they shouted, "Sir, we're innocent." Cameron ignored them and looked at Manuel, whose face was dark. "Don't you guys want the truth? Didn't you say that we're just covering up for our own people? Don't worry. I'm someone who treats everyone equally. I'll interrogate these 4 suspects to the end. Why should I trust you? Who the hell knows if you go behind our backs and do something again?" "I would go behind your back and do something again? What do you think I am? A dream walker who walked into their dreams and told them to kill your guy? Didn't you guys want me to find out the real murderer?" Cameron walked up to Manuel and crossed her arms in front of her chest. "Don't you ever think that you can go up against our Southern clan just because you have the support from that person? If you push me too far, I can even kill all of you here, let alone one person. After all, only our reputation will be affected if the public learns that someone was found dead inside the Southern Chamber of Commerce. However, things are different for you." Manuel was stunned, and his face sank. "What do you mean?" Cameron went closer to him and whispered into his ear. "Do you really think that I don't know you're the one who killed Jokin? If I share this secret with the people in the Serpents, do you think they will still listen to you?" Manuel's face turned pale, and his blood ran cold. He did not know how Cameron knew about the things he had done to Jokin. In fact, he had been wondering about something. After all, when he returned to the scene, all he could find at the bottom of the cliff was a burnt car. He couldn't find Jokin's body at all. However, he had made sure that he had tied all the loose ends, so he was confident that nobody knew what he had done. He was the one who tricked Jokin out that day. When he was left alone with Jokin, he stopped the car on the cliff under the pretense that the car had broken down. After Jokin got out of the car, he muffled him with the chloroform he had prepared and then put the man in the trunk. After that, he pushed the car off the cliff to fake an accident scene. He couldn't sleep all night because he couldn't find Jokin's body. However, if he made the Southern clan his scapegoat and made Florence and the members of the Serpents think that the Southern clan had killed Jokin, even if Jokin was still alive and had run away, he would be the one in charge of the Serpents. As long as Jokin dared to show up before him, Manuel would seize the chance and get rid of him again. But how did Cameron know everything he did? Since when did he find out? Cameron patted his shoulder and smiled. Have you made up your mind? Manuel took a deep breath and suppressed his boiling anger. I suggest you not make any baseless accusations like that if you don't have any evidence, Mr. Southern. She chuckled. Do you really want me to show you the evidence in front of everyone? Manuel was stumped. He couldn't tell if Cameron was just bluffing or if she really had the evidence. If she had the evidence, everything he had right now would go down the drain. He took a deep breath and turned around. Since Mr. Southern said he's going to look into the matter, we should give him a chance to prove his innocence. Let's go back first. Are we really going to let him die like that? Obviously, the Southern clan killed him, said someone. I said I'll give you guys a satisfactory explanation, Manuel said through gritted teeth, his face dark. I'm sure that Mr. Southern won't let us down. After that, he left with his men and the dead body. Waylon walked up to Cameron and asked, "What did you tell him?" Cameron turned her head around and replied, "Something that haunts him." Waylon nodded understandingly and squinted. "If you threatened him with Jokin, I'm sure he won't let you off the hook so easily." Chapter 2099. Cameron crossed her arms in front of her chest and snorted lightly. The person will only stay in the dark if we don't give him a little push. He's just somebody's lapdog, yet he has the guts to frame the Southern clan and demand the commune and the sexta from us. If it weren't for the person behind him, do you think he could get to where he is today? If Manuel had killed Jokin just to help Florence to become the leader of the Serpents, he wouldn't have been their lapdog for so many years. So why would he want to take over the Serpents from Florence? Besides, was it possible for a man to disobey the person he served after getting the power he wanted through unknown means? Waylon chuckled and said, "Maybe he's someone who's very good at hiding his own ambition?" Cameron poked his chest with her finger and continued. "No matter how ambitious a person is, he's still a baby in arms if he doesn't have the guts. Besides, he's a man who would rather betray Jokin than Florence. What do you think is the reason he started craving power?" Waylon lowered his head to look at her finger and lifted his eyebrows. "Mr. Southern, I guess it's about time for you to change your habit of touching another person. What's the matter? Could it be that your body is too precious for me to touch?" Cameron did not know why Waylon would have such a big reaction. All she did was just poke him with her finger. She retracted her finger and sat on the couch. "Anyway, I'm sure Florence is the reason Manuel wants to take over the Serpents." She picked up the teapot and continued. "Men are all the same. Once they have the power, they can get everything they need. Since someone is willing to give Manuel a chance, it goes without saying that he won't let such a good opportunity go to waste. Even though the Serpents are working for Fabio, the fact is that they don't have as much freedom as they had when they were working for the Southern clan. They have to listen to Fabio's orders, and it entirely depends on Fabio who he wants to lead the Serpents." Waylon felt she was right. Even though it seemed like the Serpents were working with Fabio on equal ground, Fabio did not think so. What Fabio needed was not an alliance. What he needed was absolute obedience and submission. The Skull Club was a big organization, yet they still had to take orders from Fabio, let alone a small organization like the Serpents. This was also the reason Jokin hesitated back then. He was the leader of his own organization. However, if he joined Fabio, the latter would become his leader, so Jokin would have to take orders from him. That was something he did not want to happen. Mahina came over. "Sir, I finished interrogating them." Cameron lifted the cup and took a sip. "That's fast. I thought it was going to take at least a day." Mahina chuckled. "It was the security guard on duty last night. He refused to tell the truth until we were going to beat him up." Honestly, Cameron had suspected that there was a turncoat amongst the four of them. After all, there was no way a living man would die inside the Southern Chamber of Commerce without anyone knowing. The only explanation was that the person was already dead before he was sent to their place. After all, if that person was really killed on their turf, the murderer would never leave his dead body behind. Besides, she was also confident that they deleted the security camera footage to pin the blame on the Southern clan more easily. After all, without the footage, the Southern clan would not be able to prove their innocence. Chapter 2100. If Cameron hadn't scared Manuel away with Jokin's death, there was no way Manuel would have given her the chance to interrogate those people. She was confident that Manuel was probably thinking about how to get rid of the turncoat. So that security guard is the mole? He lost a lot of money in the casino the day before and owed the casino several $1,000s. He couldn't afford to pay it back, so the people from the Serpents found him and gave him a sum of money to pay off the debt. In exchange, they wanted him to move the body into the Southern Chamber of Commerce and delete the footage in the surveillance room early in the morning. Waylon chuckled. This obviously is a trap. Mahina nodded too. You're right, Mr. Goldman. It's indeed a trap. Manuel was there at the casino as well that day. It seems like he has been targeting him from the beginning, so he took this chance to buy him off. Cameron rose to her feet and waved her hand. Get someone to clean up the place. She came out of the Southern Chamber of Commerce, and Mahina hastily followed after her. So what should we do next? Cameron stopped in front of the car and turned her head to look at Waylon, who was walking down the stairs at a steady pace. It seems to me that Mr. Goldman is rather free. Why don't you go ask him? I'm sure he knows what to do next. She entered the car and left without waiting for them. Mahina turned around and looked at Waylon embarrassingly. Waylon pressed his lips tightly. Nobody knew what he was thinking. Manuel's plan failed since Cameron already knew the secret of Jokin's death. Before the truth came to light, he secretly got rid of those who knew about it, and his action was known to Donald. Donald sat in front of the table, his finger tapping on the table in a rhythmic tempo. He looked straight at Manuel, who seemed rather anxious, and said, "It seems like this Mr. Southern is indeed as difficult to deal with as the rumors say." Manuel complained, "If he hadn't known about what happened to Jokin, I would have succeeded." He was smart. He knew how to use Jokin's death to threaten him. "Well, you failed. There comes a time when people fail," Donald said indifferently. "Originally, I was planning to let you claim credit in front of Fabio. If you can take the commune and the sexta, Fabio will realize your worth and think highly of you. But now, it seems like we need another plan if we want to take these two places." Manuel asked impatiently, "But what plan do we have now?" Donald frowned. "Calm down. You won't be able to solve anything if you don't calm down. I heard that the Goldman's daughter from Zlokova is also in the Eastern Islands. Not only that, but she has a good relationship with Cameron. The Goldmans will hold a banquet at Staslo, so I guess they came to the Eastern Islands to form an alliance with the Southern clan." Manuel was stunned. So Mr. Puzo isn't the only one who's trying to spread his influence to the surrounding countries. Donald let out a cold smile. If Fabio wants to increase his influence in Aura, he needs to annex other organizations. The night banquet has chosen the Southern clan. If you can stop the Southern clan from forming an alliance with the night banquet, you may get a promotion from Fabio. At that time, you may gain more power. Nobody would be able to resist such a temptation. Manuel hesitated, but he was still worried about one thing. "But Cameron knows that I have something to do with Jokin's death. I'm worried that I'll get someone to take care of him." Donald put his hand on a cup and said, "You just need to bring the Goldman's daughter to me." In the afternoon, Daisy was pacing back and forth in the courtyard as she kept looking at the main entrance. Sonny came to the courtyard with his cane, and when he saw that Daisy was pacing here and there anxiously, he chuckled and said gently, "Are you worried about your big brother?"